Welcome and hello. I just want to thank everyone for joining us in my spiritual chat. And today I am here with Reverend Margaret Palagye, founder and senior minister of Joyful Gathering Spiritual Center, which I happen to be a member of. Hi, Reverend Margaret. How are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you, Dana. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity to speak truth with others. I love it.
Yes, thank you so much. It's my pleasure, and I'm glad that you said yes to being here with us today. So today we're going to be talking about cause and effect. Okay, so Reverend Margaret, I have a question for you. What is cause and effect, and how does it work?
Oh, we can cover that. And how long do we have? Okay.
I'm gonna keep it short.
Let's just take the most simplest example that I could give for cause and effect, because, well, there's two. One is thoughts create. Yes?
Yes.
So our thoughts are very powerful, and they're aligned with universal consciousness. They're aligned with God itself. There's one mind, God's mind, my mind now. And so with that mind, I have a thought, a very strong thought. And holding that thought, knowing that thought, no matter what the conditions, knowing that thought and moving through any kind of emotion that might come up, and that will be in alignment with that thought, will produce the effect, the condition.
Okay.
Guaranteed. I've proved it to myself many times.
Awesome. So is cause and effect actually a universal law?
Absolutely. It's a spiritual law. We're all using cause and effect, whether we're doing it consciously, which is the beauty of knowing these spiritual teachings, is that if we're consciously doing it, we can be more effective. But if we are creating, everybody's creating, which is cause. Cause is creating. So we're all creating something. And if we're doing it by default, we might not get what we truly want to experience in life.
Oh, I see. Okay. So now, if you don't really like the effects that you're getting, how could you change it?
Well, first thing you have to have is awareness that what you're feeling is not what you want to experience in life. These experiences, especially if there's a pattern of experiences, and the only way you can change an effect in your life, a condition, an experience, is to recognize it and to know that you are in alignment with the one mind, and you can choose a new thought at any time, because a new thought will create a new effect. It's the way the spiritual laws work. And I tell everyone this: don't believe me. Don't believe me. What do I know? Prove it to yourself. Use it.
And I love that
you use it correctly. Yeah.
Yes. And I love that you say that, because I've listened to you. And when I first heard that, I started doing my own experiments of cause and effect to see how I can get them to work in my life. And you are so right. We can set the attention and we can get the effects that we want. So, but let me ask you though, when you change the thoughts, is it something that happens gradually or immediately?
And that's a great question, because that all depends on if you're still focusing. Like, I could think of, this is what I really want. Okay. And I'm still thinking of the lack, the limitation, and the fear at the same time.
Okay.
It's going to dilute the manifestation of what the experience is. And also, and this is another key point, is that the thought must align with my feelings, with the fire in the heart. I must believe it's already done before I can see evidence. And that takes great faith.
Okay. And that's what we have to practice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I like mental equivalent, right? You
Yeah.
have to have the equivalent feeling and belief of what you expect. Right?
You have to have a mental picture. The universe thinks in pictures and ideas.
Oh, okay.
So we can't, if we think of a car and we think of CAR, they're just words.
Mm-hmm.
But the feeling in our subconscious and everything that brings up, that gives it a color, a picture.
Mm-hmm.
And so we think of what we want,
Okay.
and we think of the picture.
Okay.
And then we align the thought with the feeling. That is going to help manifest a whole lot quicker.
Oh.
And we have to be steadfast.
Mm-hmm.
We must be steadfast on what it is we wish to create in our lives.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you have any suggestions for how people can actually start holding the focus on what they want to create? Like maybe like a affirmation or anything like that? Do you have any suggestions on how they can create?
Well, I'll give you a hypothetic of something that I used to go through till I retrained my brain. I love it. I retrained my brain, and that way I retrain. I'm still doing it. It's a lifetime thing of my subconscious.
Okay.
That if I feel that there's any lack or fear, I take a deep breath, and my strongest affirmation that I have is that God is the source and supply of all my good. In this moment, all my needs are met. And I just hold that. I don't care what the condition looks like,
Okay.
because fear is an illusion. And it's something that once we get paralyzed by fear, then we cannot effectively manifest. We cannot effectively create a new way of being in our lives.
Oh, okay. Okay. So now, let me ask you this. Now, what impact does cause and effect have on universal?
Excuse me, let me just turn this thing off. Go ahead.
What impact does cause and effect have on universal consciousness, if any, at all?
Okay, so everybody, I'm sure everyone out there knows what universal consciousness is. That's a big woo.
Oh, okay, well, could you just explain to us briefly what it is for some of us that may not know what universal consciousness is?
Okay, so that's the consciousness of the collect. We call it the collective unconscious. It's every thought, every emotion, everything that's ever been going on, patterns of thought that is not just within us, but it's the global. It is everything. It is the global. It's not the real truth, because in divine mind, in God's mind, there is no collective conscious or unconscious, but in our experience there is. And if we're living in a state of what we're living in right now, fear is a planetary belief and fear of the COVID-19 virus, let's just say that.
Okay.
And if everybody gives the energy of fear to that, we will not come out of it the way we want to. Okay. So the energy that we must hold within us is that we are always divinely protected. I mean, we always take the practical steps, we do those things, right. But we must hold the thought in our mind that fear in and of itself is nothing. It hampers, and it's the new cause. I don't want my cause to be fear. Right. I want my cause to be coming from a place of peace.
Right.
Then my effect will be peace.
Okay, so cause and effect. So if we have more people thinking like that, the faster we would be able to resolve this COVID-19 situation. Do you think?
From my spiritual perspective, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. From a spiritual perspective, what we are trained to do is to, see past the condition and go to the spiritual truth. There's no COVID-19 in divine mind and the infinite intelligence in God itself. This
Right.
is a human, and we don't know the cause of the COVID-19. I mean, we can have all kinds of theories and all kinds of explanations. And to me, that is secondary for peace in my life. The peace in my life comes from, okay, this is what's going on in the world.
Mm-hmm.
What can I think about it? How can I respond and live my life? And living my life becomes my cause
Mm-hmm.
within this whole pandemic. My cause is that I am holding the light. I am knowing that this too shall pass. And I am staying aligned with divine mind, because that is where the power is. The power is not in a virus. The power is in the spiritual truth. That's the cause I choose to hold.
And so it is. That is so good. So good. Yeah, I was going to ask you, how do you actually use the cause and effect in your everyday life? But you kind of answered that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Unless you want to add to it, like outside of COVID, how
Yeah.
else do you apply this to your life every day?
In every thought that you have, I call it doing a mind check. And the more you practice these spiritual truths, spiritual teachings, that we truly are the manifester of our lives, and within us is that divinity, that divine protection and guidance that is always in operation. So my body lets me know when something is off, and I can immediately go to where it is in my body, and I realize there's a thought there.
Mm,
There is a thought that is causing that. It's usually based in fear, a fear
right.
thought. It's
Mhm.
only fear and love. So in that fear thought, I can do the polar opposite,
Right.
and holding that, and truly believing that, because in God all things are possible. In divine mind, which is God, that there are infinite potential and possibilities that are available to us. I choose to focus on being in a solution, being in the flow of life, and knowing that this is neutralizing any fear, and I then consequently experience a new effect, one that's more pleasing to me.
Wow.
So it's about being aware all the time.
Right. Awesome. That's incredible. So it's like a constant practice because you constantly have to be aware and constantly check your own thinking and your feelings, just like you just said. So that is
Oh,
awesome.
yeah.
Great. Everyday practice.
When we have these patterns coming up in our lives and these emotions that really don't feel good,
Hmm.
I mean, we're human. We're going to have those too.
Right.
And we accept those. We never push anything away. But here's a good one. By pushing away what we don't want, we're actually attracting that into our lives. And so by pushing away anything that we don't want, lack, limitation, viruses, whatever, and focusing on pushing that away, we're creating more of it, and that will be our effect.
Oh, okay. Now,
So we make peace.
is that because in not pushing it away, saying, "Oh, we don't want this, we don't want this," but in actuality, what we're doing is thinking about it and giving it a lot more attention and energy.
What you focus on grows.
Wow, that's interesting. Just think about how many people don't understand that.
I'm telling you, this was the greatest gift I ever gave myself in my entire life, was believing in these spiritual truths, of continuously deepening into understanding,
Mhm.
and aligning myself with the power of absolute love. That's the greatest gift I have ever given myself.
Awesome. That sounds like an awesome gift. I am working on it.
We all are, Dana. We
Yeah,
all are.
yes, it's definitely a constant practice.
Hmm.
It's like it's not a place you're trying to get to stay. It's constantly thinking and learning and practicing. For me, that's
So,
how it is for me.
and it's always an inside job.
Yeah,
See,
absolutely.
before I became aware, that I can actually have choice in life, I was at the mercy of the conditions in life.
Mm-hmm.
And those conditions ruled
Mm-hmm.
how I was going to experience this lifetime. And then as you deepen into connecting within, where the divine resides, it resides everywhere, but it is within us because it is us. And the more we connect with that, we realize that it's our thinking, our thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
not the outside experience. It's the reverse.
Right.
It's inside, not outside.
Mm.
Here's a good one. The inside is the cause. Our inner intelligence is the cause, and everything outside of us are effects.
Wow.
They're all effects.
Right. So it's the effect of how you're thinking or how you're feeling. All right. And even what you're actually talking about is all effects on the outside.
Hmm.
Is that how that works?
Yeah, and in life, um, experience things come up, let's just say
Okay.
that we don't know how we created it. And I'm really very strong and a proponent of not using spiritual guilt,
Okay.
like, oh, what was I thinking that caused this? What was I feeling that I created this? I don't do that. I go with the isness. This
Mm-hmm.
is what is. Where can I bring my thinking, my attention?
Mm-hmm.
And I take it from there.
Okay.
Take it
Awesome.
from there.
Awesome. Very good. Well, I thank you so much for just saying yes to the call of starting the spiritual center and saying yes to the call for joining me on this platform today. So, Reverend Margaret, let everybody know where our center is and how they can find you.
Oh, okay, so we are located in Westmont, New Jersey. All of our information is on our website, www.joyfulgathering.org. So our location is in there, our address, phone numbers, all of our ministers. We have many ministers now that are part of Joyful Gathering. And we have many class. We don't have many right now. We have a class going on. We have a new one starting in June. Check that website. We have on Wednesday nights, we have a healing, what we call Healing Wednesday, where we start with a welcome, very short welcome, and then we go into a meditation, 15-minute meditation, and then we go into a group prayer. So the people that participate verbally in that prayer are all ministers and practitioners of Science of Mind, New Thought. And anyone can join. The link is on our website, joyfulgathering.org.
Awesome. And I am Dana Smith, and you can actually watch my other videos as well as this one on Universal Consciousness with Dana. And you can also find me as well as this video here on Facebook/FARREA, FARREA. I thank you guys for joining and have a blessed evening. Thank you so much, Reverend Margaret. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.
Bye.